A fascist and a communist walk into the bar. Who wins? Nobody. What do? Do you run up your tab and observe? I don't think fascists and communists allow for observation. Do you close out your tab? Do you just show them how big your biceps are and then use them on them? I don't know. What do? But we have Hitler with the black pieces, Lenin with the white pieces. This was played in 1909 in Vienna. Vienna was named the happiest city to live in, I believe. I went there. I don't think it's the happiest city. I think Budapest, honestly, is better, but it was named the happiest city to live in, so that's pretty ridiculous. But we get Hitler playing a6, controlling the center. Lenin was a Russian, so to speak. So he's following the Russian school of chess, following principle, controlling the center, controlling all these key squares. By the way, thank you guys for 900 subs. That is amazing. We're almost at 1,000. We're almost at phase 1. And sorry for not uploading the last few days. My siblings came to visit, and it's been like 4 years since we've all been together. So I took a few days off. Okay, we got b5, this extended fianchetto now. e6, resembling a French defense, and Lenin just developing normally. c5, striking in the center, creating tension. Tension is good. Here, white can either play d5 or play c3 is the move I would play, I like. But he decided to take, which is not great because it helps. It's so funny saying it. It helps Hitler develop his bishop. He develops with a tempo. White castles and bishop to b7. We get these extended fianchetto sniper rifle bishops aiming into white's position. Queen to e2. Okay. Why did white play queen e2? Maybe it's to go bishop e3 and trade dark squared bishops. Maybe it's to get his rooks connected faster, allow for rook to d1 on the semi-open file where black's queen is. So Hitler creates a battery over here on the dark squares. This does stop bishop to e3, or it makes it a bad move rather. This trade would only benefit Hitler because that was a mouse slip, because you would get double isolated pawns as white. That's really not what you want to do. In fact, here you could just play king e7. You're developing quickly. The king is okay in the center because it's not getting checkmated. No dark squared bishop, no queen. You are chilling. So Lenin did not go bishop e3. He went pawn to a4. This is a good move. What should you do as black here? Really, you should extend the pawn, disallowing the knight from coming to c3. It's a pretty good pawn, and if white is to extend with a5, this pawn is a liability in the long term because this rook will need to slide over at some point to get into the game, and the rook for now is tied down to this a5 pawn, and it cannot be defended due to your pawn on b4. So we get pawn takes, not a great move. Maybe he was expecting rook takes, but knight to c3 is a better move, threatening knight takes a4 with the fork, getting rid of black's bishop pair. Okay, Hitler goes a3, and what do? So what Lenin should have done is gone knight a4, forking the pieces, then taking the bishop, and then not taking the pawn, but rather just going b3. You're going to recapture with the bishop. That's a great diagonal for the bishop. And have you ever not been able to castle due to a bishop? Not the best feeling in the world. I've felt better. It does happen sometimes when you play incorrectly, as we all do. So we do not get that. Rather, we get pawn to a3, pawn takes pawn. He doesn't go for the switch. He doesn't go for knight a4. Pawn takes a3 is an okay move, but now you also have a weakness as white. We got queen to a5, getting out of the fork on a4. And here, what Lenin should do is go rook to b1, gaining a tempo on the bishop, and then put the dark squared bishop in front or behind of the knight, rather, for discovered attacks with his own knight. Rather, he goes bishop to b2, defending the knight, and maybe he liked this bishop aiming in onto g7. We get knight to f6, so the rook doesn't get trapped, but now e5, gaining a tempo on the knight, forcing it to move. Lenin does elect to trade. You get both bishops in the center of the board. And now we get knight to g5, which is a good move, threatening knight takes h7. What would you play here? The best move is h6, at which point white would not retreat. He should go queen to h5, pinning the pawn down. And this is just not a fun position. You can envision g6, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, and life is good for white. Instead of h6, Hitler elects to go queen d8, which is a tricky move, but Lenin does play correctly. The point of queen to d8 is not just to attack the knight, but to hope that white's knight takes the pawn, and then you would get queen h4, and you're going to win a bishop and a knight for a rook and a pawn You're going to have the bishop pair. Black would be better then. And if you move the knight, you get checkmated in one move. So that's what he anticipated, but this is chess. Sometimes you don't anticipate the right thing. So we got queen to g4, a good move. He's like, I'm going to attack your queen. Get out of here. He goes queen g3. He's like, I'm going to attack your queen. Get out of here. He goes back to g4. Now in this position, Hitler throws the game. g6. Why is this a mistake? How do you capitalize on it? Well, the move for white is knight takes f7. We get king takes. Maybe he thought he was going to go queen takes. You're going to be safe now. There's going to be some rook g8 stuff. Black can win this very easily had queen takes been done. But Lenin correctly calculates bishop takes leads to mate. If the king stays on the f file, it gets checked. It goes to the g file. Bishop to h5, a discovery on the king. After the king moves, you get a check on the f file. You get a check on the f file. And you get a mate on the g file. So, a funny game. Some principles were followed, some were not. And the king gets checkmated on h6. Have you ever seen this game? Did you know they played chess? Pretty cool story. Thank you guys as always for watching. Have a great day. Boom.